What's going on, sports fans? Christian Pedersen. This is Haseen Williams.
That's me.
He was a little concerned that I didn't know his name because we've never actually. Have we been on camera together? Maybe once at the. I think I was your cameraman.
Yeah, you were behind
once.
camera
I was your cameraman once. We've been on the radio together,
Absolutely.
but that.
We've been in the gym together.
That's true. we did. You know what, folks? This is we're coming full circle. Haseen has been playing hard to get, and he's been hanging out with Braden for a couple of years now. But I am lucky enough to be joined by the man behind SD County Hoops Report. We can talk for as long as you want about some high school girls basketball right now. We were talking off camera about how 4-ish, 5-ish weeks in, everybody's played somewhere around 8, maybe 10 games, but yet somehow it feels like the last 2 weeks we have been hit in the face with a tidal wave of enormous results. It's just like shotgun blast tidal, whatever the metaphor you want to use. A little bit sometimes cliche, stupid to talk about top 10 right now, but at the same time, it is also great conversational debate.
Definitely.
So let's do this. Count us down 10-1.
Gotcha.
And then let's just kind of, I will be the shocked, aghast sports fan reacting to it.
Gotcha. So 10, we have Poway. That's their first week in the top 10.
And they are 9-1 this season.
9-1 right now. Well, actually headed into this week. They lost twice already this week.
We'll start at, okay, for all of the context of all this information, it is as of Monday this week.
Correct. So as of Monday, we have Poway at 10, 9-1. Bishops at 9, 5-4. Mater Dei at 8. San Marcos at 7.
And they are undefeated as of the start of this week.
Correct. And they've continued to win this week, and they have a monster week. I'm sure we'll get into that. Bonita Vista at 6. Christian at 5. Mount Miguel at 4.
The defending Open Division champions.
Country Day at 3. Mission Hills, the team that Mount Miguel beat, at 2. And then number 1 is Cathedral Catholic.
Now, I do think it's very interesting that we were talking 6-0 with San Marcos, and everybody ahead of them has losses. Bonita Vista's even 4-4. Like, that's where I just do not envy this guy and everything that he has to go through, because somehow you have to sift through all of that. So let me just ask you this. Based off of what you've seen in that top 10 and what you've seen from some of the teams this season, anybody in that grouping shock you? Because I think Christian stands out to me as that's a little bit of a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say nobody shocked me because we do a lot of research in the offseason. So these are kind of the teams that we had pegged. But San Marcos
Can't sneak anything by this guy.
But San Marcos, at the record they have, I wouldn't say they shocked me, but I've been really impressed. They lost a ton. So for them to be where they are, still undefeated, and really getting into a meaty part of their schedule, like I said, I'm not shocked, but it's a bit of an eyebrow raiser and pleasant surprise, I would say.
What's been any reaction, any judgment from everything being moved up 2 weeks this year? Because football and the fall sports, it's August and we're already playing games. Has it actually affected basketball at all?
I don't really think it has. I think we're seeing a lot more games of top 10 teams facing off each other earlier than we would have, just because of you're starting sooner. I think it took teams a while for teams playing before Thanksgiving, which we normally don't have that many regular season games before Thanksgiving. But I think it's good because teams are actually we've had a lot of teams that have faced off against other top 10 teams. So usually you don't really know a whole lot about teams, but we're actually getting a good sense of who teams are even, this early in December still.
Now, I do have to bring up something before we go any further. Roger DiCarlo, Congratulations, coach. 250 career wins. Talk a little bit about what that milestone means.
That's a huge number. I mean, that number speaks to his sustained excellence. He's been doing it for a long time. One of the most well-respected coaches in the county, did it at multiple schools. He's been real consistent at San Marcos recently. Made the Open last year, lost in the championship Division I the year before, has his eyes back on Division Open again this year. So great guy, great coach, and like I said, his record speaks for itself.
So he is 250 wins ahead of both of us combined.
Correct.
Which doubly makes it more impressive, because together, the two of us, we could rattle off some championships, man.
I can do it.
So, you mentioned some of these players, but now that we go into winter break is right around the corner, is that something that do teams pick up momentum, or do teams lose focus? Is that a roadblock for teams to look and be like, okay, this is a tough 2 weeks, we really got to double down? Or is this oh, we can take a breath. We're going to pick up some steam.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Some teams are going
Very politically
to take time to have some practice time, but for a lot of teams outside of the actual Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, I mean the Del Norte, the SoCal Holiday Prep Tournament starts on the 26th, and that's huge. So a lot of teams' schedules and seasons are going to be made or broken.
Well, teams are still going to keep playing games, but it's something about that physical. Just you don't have to get up for school at 7 in the morning.
Absolutely.
You don't have to get up for that grind.
I can tell you for a fact, coaches like it a lot better because we can practice early. You don't have the distraction of kids are focused on homework and testing. So that is
Pesky student part of the student athlete.
exactly. So that is definitely a bonus that coaches like. That you really have the opportunity to focus a day on practice or focus a day just on game prep. So in that fashion, it's definitely a time for teams to get right.
Okay, so who are you mentioned the SoCal Preps Holiday Tournament? Any other major tournaments going on here in San Diego in the next 2 or 3 weeks that people need to keep a lookout for?
Yeah, so Bonita Vista is hosting a tournament. They'll attract some good talent. I know there's a tournament. Coach DiCarlo just had his tournament, South San Marcos tournament, that attracted a lot of talent. But for the most part, it's going to be really centralized, and some of the best talent we have in the county will be there. A lot of good out-of-town competition from the Bay Area. I know he's got some top teams from Washington coming. So if you want to see the best of the best from here and the neighboring states, that's the place to be.
So in football, because ultimately for the sports audience, you have to boil everything down to a compare it to football type analogy. We'll see in the beginning of the season, Helix will play a Paraclete, Cathedral Catholic will play something like that, and everybody just kind of goes, well, win or lose, it helps their strength of schedule. Is that the same thing in basketball? Because with 30 games, does it get a little diluted, or does Mission Hills losing to the best team from the North and the best team from Washington still help them move up? Like, does it translate over in basketball?
It does. Just like you want to play teams that are going to win their league, they're going to win their seat if they're going to be CIF champions. It doesn't have to be our section, but even in other sections, if they do their job. So if you play a team that ends up winning their league, or like I said, winning CIF, that's definitely going to help your seeding. So you definitely, if you have. It really benefits teams whose leagues may not be very strong, so you have to get those games.
Well, and that's the Helix football argument,
Exactly.
is that the rest of their Grossmont league does not provide them that challenge or that mathematical opportunity to move up.
Exactly. So you have to, for those types of teams, you have to find those teams outside of league that are going to strengthen your schedule. Then you have teams. You have a league like the Western League, which is loaded: Cathedral, Sarah, Mira Mesa, OLP. So those teams, they're good. They can schedule okay, because once they get in the league, they're going to be facing off on open and Division I caliber teams, even in league.
So let's hit it with this. What are a couple of teams outside of that upper crust that have caught your attention a little bit? It doesn't even have to be for anything, one specific thing, but you're kind of like, I like the start that they're off to, man, because there's a couple of teams always every year that sneak up and blow out the doors in the playoffs, and we got to be that hipster source that's like, we got in early on so-and-so's bandwagon.
Absolutely. So Westview's a team. They've scheduled really tough. They've played. They don't have the wins per se, but they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat, and then they're playing the teams that are probably better than them. They're playing them tough. LCC.
Mac Orabello still playing at Westview?
Actually just graduated. She's at San Francisco State.
Look, folks, I admittedly am the novice here, so I'm catching.
Threw me a lob. See, you gave me an opportunity to show that I'm tracking them outside after they leave.
On that pass, though.
Absolutely.
We connected on that pass.
And then LCC, they just dropped out of our top 10, but ever since then they've gotten a couple quality wins. So they're a team that right now they're not in the top 10, but I think they're probably one of the top 10.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Break outside of the top 10 a little bit. Looking forward, SD County Hoops Report. They can follow that for all the information. You were saying you are providing almost pretty much daily content. Absolutely. Trying to get coverage. So we give them just a little taste of what they can find on your site.
So we do daily. We have player rankings. We do stories on coaches. We actually have our magazine is coming out. We do a daily top 3 games of the night.
Okay.
We do scores. We'll provide stats for games. Do a lot of pieces. Sometimes, the spirit moves us and we'll get an idea for a story, we'll put it out. So, if you have ideas for content, we're open for that. Just trying to get as much content as possible.
Absolutely. They're doing a lot of great stuff. You can follow Haas22 on all the social media as well. Look, I say that this isn't the last time we do this.
I agree.
I like this. I like
it as
this.
well.
If you'll let me rotate off the bench, I will gladly be your Brian Scalabrine.
Six man off the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Yeah,
it.
no. I'll let you and Braden get us up by 30
you
or
go.
40,
There you go.
and then I'll come in for my garbage.
Clutch baskets. 1 or 2 clutch baskets.
I was going to say 5, 2, and 2.
That's a good stat line. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
We'll let you figure out which 5, which 2, and which
Don't
2.
worry about all that.
But for Haseen Williams, I'm Christian Pedersen. Anything of note you want to get out before we say goodbye to everybody?
Big game tonight. Cathedral is at San Marcos. That's 1 versus 7. Should be a really exciting game. I'm interested to get back and get on Max Krebs and see how it went.
Will San Marcos jump all the way to 1 if they win this, or is that too big of a leap?
I mean, with being undefeated, knocking off a number 1 team that's been pretty much dominant, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
There you go, folks. We are talking about things that are within the realm of possibility. Thank you very much, Haseen, and we'll talk to you guys soon.